There we go. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Jump Zone session, Revive My Home. Thank you for being here this morning. If you can hear me, hey, Saudah. Good morning.
Good morning.
Looking beautiful.
Thank you.
I can see but not hear. Hey, Kathlyn.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning, ladies.
Good. Perfect. People in the chat are saying that they can hear. Good morning, y'all. Where's everybody checking in from in the chat? I am here at the Momcation at the Eaton Hotel. So it's a little dark in the room. So hopefully you guys can see me. But I'm here in DC. We got Atlanta, Maryland, DC, Houston in the building, Clinton, New York. Welcome, everybody. Lots of Texas, Birmingham, Alabama. Welcome, everybody. We have one more panelist who should be joining us shortly, so we'll wait just another minute or two before we get started. Fort Bragg, Georgia, in Michigan, but we live in California. I know everybody on the West Coast woke up early to be here with us this morning. We appreciate y'all. We appreciate y'all. All right, we will go ahead and get started. So I want to welcome you all to our session, Revive My Home. We all know that we've been inside, all right, in the house for the last year. And I have been watching y'all. I have been watching y'all become plant moms. I have been watching y'all redecorate. I have been watching y'all do DIY, okay, with the round saws and all the things you guys have been doing in the house. And I love to see it. I have been doing a lot of decoration in my own home, which a lot of fun. And so we have a couple of experts here, and we have Makini joining right now. Hey, Makini, how are you?
Good, how are you, ladies?
Welcome. We were just getting started. I'm actually going to do some quick introductions. Y'all have some very thorough bios here. I'm going to do some very quick introductions of our panelists this morning. So let me first reintroduce myself. My name is Maaden Eshete Jones of Love Maaden. The whole premise behind Love Maaden is healing through hospitality, getting together to talk and gathering around the table as a means to women's wellness. And so please check me out, Love Maaden, on all the social, all the website, same everywhere. So first, I'd like to introduce to you all Makini Regal. She is Makini Regal on Instagram. She is a published floral event and interior designer whose signature style can be described as a fusion of glam, chic, and sophisticated. And her love for texture, prints, and bold colors is evident in her design aesthetic. Ladies in the chat, let us know if you are following Makini, if you know her work. It's grateful to have her here. She's Trinity born and Brooklyn bred, and she's coming to us live and direct from New York now, right? You're in New York right now?
Yes. Well, I'm in California right now, but I'm from New
Oh,
York.
you're in California right now. I knew somebody said they had an early morning. I can't remember if it was you or Saudah. Thank you for jumping on, okay, from the West Coast. So welcome. Yes, and the ladies are saying in the chat they love you. They're so happy to be here. So we're so grateful for you all to be able to connect with Makini. Next, I want to introduce to you all, or reintroduce to you all, if you're already familiar with her, Kathlyn Celeste. She is a lifestyle content creator dedicated to inspiring her audience through family, faith, and love. She is a devoted wife and a loving mother of 3 boys. We have all the boy moms on today, and has a passion for all things beauty, travel, DIY, and interior design. She's been featured lots of places, Parents, Sheen, Freed Magazine, E! News. So we are so excited to welcome Kathlyn Celeste. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
We are so excited to have you. And finally, the beautiful Saudah Saleem. She is a mom, y'all. We were catching up the other day, and I was like, "So, how old are your kids?" And she's like, "Oh, kind of a trick question because she got a bench full." So, in addition, right, to being an extraordinary mother, she's an award-winning, nationally published interior designer and influence with exquisite taste and an eye for great style. She is the founder and principal designer of Saudah Saleem Interiors and is passionate and about creating beautifully curated, soulful, and sophisticated spaces for modern living. As I mentioned, she is the mama of 5 kids ranging in age from 6 to 20. She has become a pro at creating spaces that are not only stylish, but functional and family friendly, right? Based on just her lifestyle. So welcome all of the ladies. Show them some love in the chat, please. Please show them some love in the chat. We're going to jump in with some questions. I would love to hear, first of all, how are y'all doing in this pandemic? Like, how are y'all feeling? How are you managing?
As for me, I think I'm doing okay. It's been a while. We got used to everything. I've actually enjoyed having my kids home. Both of my boys ended up doing virtual schooling, so it's been great. I had my husband at home as well. I just had my 3rd baby. So it's been great to just like feel myself again, get back to projects, and now the summer started. So it's great. Here in Massachusetts, we're doing great.
Good. Saudah, Makini, how are y'all holding up? How are y'all doing?
I think I'm doing as well as can be expected with 5 kids at home. Everybody was virtual for the past year doing virtual learning. So I think initially it took a minute to get our rhythm, but I have a lot of hands helping out here with the kids at various ages. So we're maintaining.
Good. That's good. And Makini, how are you?
I think for me, I'm also like Saudah, doing as well as I can. I have a 3-nager, I like to call her. So toddler mom life has been very interesting, especially living in New York City where, you know, our homes are a little bit on the smaller side. We don't have as much outdoor area. So getting really creative on how to be at home, but also like make it more interesting. So
Yeah. And I can totally relate. We're home with a 2-year-old, 2.5-year-old girl. So same thing, that toddler mom life is very intense. Kids need space to run and do things, and we're all in the house. But it also totally resonates that time to slow down and be at home has been just as valuable, even with all the stress and all the other things. It's been really valuable for us to just reconnect as a family. So we're grateful for that. Y'all in the chat cracking me up. Y'all say y'all kids are tearing the house up. So let's dive into it. I want to ask a question to all of the panelists first, just sort of as our introductory question. If you could, and we got a flavor of this in your bios, but if you could describe the style of your home. And Saudah, I'll start with you. Tell us a little bit about your home, the aesthetic and like the functionality. How would you describe it?
So I actually, right as the pandemic started, I had actually relocated. We just moved. So we were kind of starting from scratch. But typically my style is based in traditional with a little bit of eclectic and cultural infusion. Because we have the kids, it's a lot of durable, multifunctional pieces, but I'm a firm believer in not sacrificing, you know, my style for functionality. So I'm always looking for pieces that can kind of do double duty.
Nice. Makini, can you tell us a little bit about your home and your style?
Sure. So I think I'm in a bit of a transition. I would have described my style before as Hollywood Regency. Unlike what Saudah just said, I choose style over practicality, and I did for a very long time. And then during the pandemic, I realized that it wasn't as functional, especially with a toddler. So I'm sort of transitioning from Hollywood Regency to boho.
Love it.
I fall in love with the boho trend right now. So
love it. It's gorgeous. Yeah, and I know so many of our mamas on Instagram and even in the chat are really feeling the boho trend as well. And Kathlyn, tell us a little bit about your space.
I definitely love the boho style as well, but I think my home is like a little more Scandinavian with a mix of maybe some modern farmhouse. I don't think I fall under like one category. I love a lot of white walls, wood floors, wood tones, greenery, modern furniture, and like minimalist decor, but also to keep it functional for my kids. They have their toys everywhere, so finding storage that mixes in well with my design, but also gives them the place to hide their toys at the end of the day.
Exactly. Yeah, hiding those toys is the key.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about that. The next question is about how do you integrate your children's toys, their items, as you are designing your space, and even when you think about budgeting, when you think about your space, your design, and your budget, how do you integrate that for your family and for your kids? Whoever wants to jump in.
I think for me, I have chosen, especially, so we live in a brownstone in Brooklyn, and so the home is very narrow. We don't have a ton of space. So I've tried to create a space for my daughter in our living room that integrates with the style of the home. So I keep everything very neutral. I am not someone that embraces primary colors for children's things, which I know sounds a little outlandish, but it literally gives me anxiety. I go into spaces and it's overwhelmed with colorful toys. Yeah. So I just try to find pieces, like Kathlyn said, that, you know, the storage is important and kind of matches the tones of the home. I do neutral play mats, you know, like the furniture that has to be on display, they all have to be neutral for me so that I don't go insane.
So when we're thinking about budget, Makini, where are you finding some of your storage items? Because we know some of these cute storage items can be a little bit on the high end. And if you've got kids, especially if you've got a few of them, we got to be budget conscious. But where are you guys finding these storage pieces? I know I found a lot of cute pieces at Target, larger baskets, and even you know, baskets that have lids and things, Home Goods. What are some other places that you guys can recommend?
For me, I like to shop local as much as I can. So going to, you know, there's still been some places open, like farmers markets that will have baskets. Of course, like you said, Home Good, Target, Amazon. You know, I try to source from as many places as possible and keeping an eye, of course, economical pieces.
Nice. Kathlyn, were you going to add something to that as well?
I definitely agree with that. Target for sure, Amazon and IKEA. I think for me, I'm so budget conscious that I will make my decision even if it's just $1. Like the dollar difference is big for me. So I will search Google for, you know, if I'm looking for a wooden basket for their toys, because I want it to match my theme and my aesthetic. I will search until I find the best deal for that 4-pack of baskets. So budget means a lot for me.
That's good. And I love what y'all are sharing in the chat. As I'm asking the questions in the panelists, I would love to hear all the tips and all the wisdom from all the moms in here. When I ask the question about how are y'all storing all the toys, some of y'all say y'all throwing them away. That's how. That's where they going, to the Goodwill. Okay. Full house, and you are, you know, you're in different seasons and different ages with your kids, and they have different needs. So how do you design around that?
So the younger two are a boy and a girl, and they actually share a room, and that's been my more recent challenge, is designing a space that is gender neutral and still fun. I think, like Makini said, I love color, but sort of in doses. I do get very nervous when I see primary colors and traditional sort of things for children. So what I advocate for is really, you know, thinking outside the box when it comes to designing spaces for children, or even spaces that will include children. You don't have to shop in the kids section. You don't have to get children's furniture. I personally like to get, you know, furniture that meshes well with my interior space, meaning it'll be adult furniture, if it's an armoire, if it's a dresser, not only because it matches the style of the house, but also because it'll grow with my child. I don't recommend themes, you know, Superman, Batman, because it's been my experience with the 5 that I have that within months, they're no longer interested in Spider-Man. And now you've got Spider-Man curtains, Spider-Man, you know, pillows, and you don't have the budget to keep revamping. So I stick with very basic gender neutral tones for that room, and, you know, kind of infuse their personality through the pillows, through the textiles. Hidden storage is very big for me. I don't like to see toys on the floor. I don't like to see toys anywhere, quite frankly. So finding storage that can, you know, double as seating or pillows, that's what I do.
Yeah, some people in the chat are saying they've used like ottomans with storage, or like you said, seating.
Ottomans are my favorite. Ottomans are my favorite because, like Makini was saying, you can match them to your decor. You can, I mean, they show a little bit of personality because you can do different prints, you can do different textile, and nobody knows what's on the inside.
Right. So it sounds like we're really anchoring the room with those neutrals, and then we're bringing in some flavor with the things that we're switching out, like, you know, like the pillows and the ottomans and things like that.
Right.
The moms are going off about the primary colors. They hate primary colors. It looks like Skittles, vomit, all sorts of things. And people will look in our house and say, "You don't even look like you have a toddler here." And I don't, I don't want it to look like the dentist office with all the stuff. That's not. That's not for me.
I will say, if you have the space for like a designated playroom zone that's away from the adult entertaining sort of space, then sure, go for it. But if you have to live with it in your face all the time,
yeah,
I don't want to see it.
And one thing I'm learning, and I want to hear your guys' thoughts about this, is kids will like to use your furniture to create things, right? Like, especially in this toddler age, I see my daughter trying to take the cushions and make forts and do all these things. So I've been thinking about getting the Nugget. Have you all heard of that? It's like a transitional kids sofa. Any moms in the chat who are familiar with it, I would love to know your thoughts about it. It's basically got 4 or 5 big pillows. It's a sofa. Casey says she has one. We love it. Cairo loves the Nugget. And it's a sofa. You can use it as seating for your children. It comes in really nice colors, but it's transitional. They can make it. They can do whatever they want and stay away from mommy's sofa, right? So that's another good piece. Yeah, I'm so annoying. All of my fancy pillows are all over the floor. All right, I'm going to another question. What are some must-have items to elevate a design aesthetic with children? So we've talked about some of the storage pieces and more functional pieces, but how do we really elevate the look? Like, how does it still look like grown-ups live here? What are some must-have pieces that you guys think moms should be investing in?
I'd say invest in art. For me, I like to create gallery walls. And so you can incorporate, your kids' art, but you can also incorporate some more adult pieces in there. And so there's, indication that a child lives here, right? But it also looks, super elevated, I would say. So I would invest in art. I know we like pillows, but as I think I saw in the chat, most of the pillows end up on the floor and not on the couch or in the basket. So I would say art.
Nice. Kathlyn, Makini, any other things to elevate the space?
Go ahead. You can go ahead, Makini.
I think going back to my previous answer, it's I think having a neutral playmat is really a way that you can do it. It almost looks like a rug if you find the right color and the right print. And also you can repurpose it. So like my husband and I use it for yoga. Like we just clear out her little table in here and we can use it for yoga. And then the storage baskets, like any type of storage that you can invest in that also works with your decor. I think those are really simple and easy ways to have a functional space for your kids, but also it just look like an adult space.
Yeah. So for the neutral floor mats, where are some places that people can find those? I know I found one on Amazon. Do you have a favorite or any other recommendations?
Yeah, I find mine on Amazon as well. There's a particular company, if I remember it, they have a lot of really interesting prints. For a long time, we had a gray playmat with swans on it. And then I recently upgraded to a different color for our living room. I'll put the link in the session.
Nice. That's great. They're multifunctional, and the one we have is reversible. So it's black and cream on one side, and then it's gray on another. So we'll use it between different rooms, like you said. Kathlyn, what about you? What would you recommend to elevate the space?
Actually, one of my answers for that was definitely the playmat. I'm wondering if the brand that you were thinking about is Little Nomad, because that's where we bought ours. No. Little Nomad. And I love it because it's super easy to clean, but it's not like those playmats that are the ABCs and it's all those primary colors, right? Like I'm not buying that, but I want something to make sure that you guys aren't getting Play-Doh, glitter, and all the things on my carpet and on my nice floor. So definitely the playmat and greenery, I think really elevates and brings life and just like a light and airy vibe to any space. So you won't, think of putting greenery in your kids' spaces, but even if it's fake plants, that will really just, I think, tone the room so great. And even with the art, as you were saying, I was telling my husband, I went to a family member's house and I was like, wow, you see all the pictures of all the extended family here, right? Like that's what we're used to seeing as we grow up, going to family members' house, and you see like the great aunts and uncles and the third cousin down the line in all these different frames that are not the same style frame, but it's so homey. And I was like, are we gonna always have this aesthetically pleasing home when our kids come home with their kids, that it's just everything's gonna be presets on the photos and stuff? And he's like, yeah, that's our style. So I'm guessing like, down the line, maybe it'll change, but the frames and the gallery walls, putting your kids' art in there and making it look like an art piece, pick out some favorites. I think that's great too. So basically what these beautiful ladies said, that's my go-to.
Fantastic. And the ladies in the chat are adding in, talking about ruggable, washable rugs that you can pull up and wash. Yeah, and those are great. Lots of great recommendations. So you mentioned, Kathlyn, plants and greenery. We know a lot of mothers have been getting into becoming plant mamas, right, over the last several months. So I would like to talk about any hobbies or crafts or projects that you all have taken up over the last, Shalise says plant mom present, that you have taken up over the last year. What projects and DIY things have you been doing in your homes? I can start back with you, Saudah, if you've got some to share with us.
Just with my schedule and being a designer, I'd honestly gotten away from a lot of DIY. But one of the things that I have done is I've fallen in love with wallpaper. Patterned wallpaper, to be precise, and I guess also I've been using this peel and stick wallpaper, and there are different brands. There's Chasing paper. There's the inside also makes some really cool patterns. But what I love about it is that it's removable, and so for me, my love for something it doesn't last forever. So I love the idea of putting it up and being able to take it down when I want to take it down. There's no damage to my wall. And it's pretty cost effective when you compare it to the cost of traditional wallpaper. So
and is it simple to do? So like, this is what you do, right? You're just a regular person.
A regular person it really depends on what else you have in the space. If you have a lot of things to cut around, it might be a bit of a challenge. But if it's just a regular wall, 4 walls in a room, you can totally do this in a weekend. Nice. So I highly recommend peel and stick wallpaper. It completely changes the look of a space.
Nice. And we have some mamas co-signing in the chat that they've been able to peel and stick as well. And that they did it. Makini, can you tell us about some projects that you've taken up over the last few months?
Sure. So I tried to Marie Kondo maybe pre-COVID, and I wasn't that successful. But during the quarantine, I feel like I had no other choice because I was just surrounded by all these things. So I took my organization to the next stage. I literally decanted everything, all of my vitamins, like painkillers, all the kitchen things. I found little cute jars for everything. I labeled everything. So I think that was one of the things that I really enjoyed doing. And then for a DIY project, we do have an outdoor area, which if you know New York City, it's kind of a hot commodity. And so I created a playhouse for my daughter. And I had been seeing all these really over-the-top playhouses. And of course, I didn't want to spend as much money as I know those homes.
Yeah.
I bought a playhouse from maybe Costco. And I just did a hack. I painted the whole thing black. I painted the inside pink. If you go to my Instagram, you'll see a little reel. But it was so fun. Like, I love it probably more than my daughter does, but she loves it. Like, I spray painted all the hardware gold. So that was probably a DIY project during COVID.
That is dope. I'm definitely going to head over to your IG and check that reel out, see if I can get some inspiration. Kathlyn, what about you?
Well, we actually moved into our home right at the beginning of the pandemic. We bought a fixer-upper. So it's our first home. So we've just spent the past year making it a home we love. So I think the past year has been filled with a lot of projects, just renovating each room. But our most recent one was completely renovating our basement. We created a family room, which is the space I'm in here right now, and then a playroom on the other side for our kids. And then we also created a bedroom for my mom because you always have to take care of mom, right? And yeah, it's our new favorite space. We still have like a storage room and my husband's studio and a lot of things to do here in this basement. So that's the next thing. But all the decluttering, organizing, spring cleaning is definitely on my next to-do list this month, which I'm excited about.
Nice. Congratulations on the new space.
Thank you.
Listen, we are approaching the end of our time together. I want to quickly talk about hosting, right? So ladies, on the panel and in the chat, I want you to get in your mind, we're getting ready to open back up and get back around the table, right? Like you have the wine and the food and the gathering safely. So when we get to that point, if you could think of just 1 to 3 things that could help elevate, elevate is our word, right, for the session, that could help elevate a gathering around the table, a small gathering around the table. What would that be? Just 1 to 3 elements that you think that are easy enough to pull off, that can take a gathering from just sort of, a get together to like, oh, wow, this was really nice. And I have been starting with Saudah the whole time. So this time I'm gonna start with Makini.
So you said for the table. Menu cards. I think I'm gonna steal that one from, I'm in the wedding industry. So having a menu card, it doesn't have to be anything super complicated, but I think personalizing a menu card is really nice. Even having, place cards for each guest that can be handwritten. It doesn't have to be complicated. Of course, because I'm a flower lover, having some sort of floral piece on your table is just a must. It doesn't have to be complicated. You can go to Whole Foods, Trader Joe's. You can also use plants instead if you don't want to use flowers, succulents down the table. Of course, candles. And I like having personalized napkins. That's something that you don't have to have for just a dinner party. You can just sort of have it if you have guests, like cocktail napkins, maybe a monogram napkin that you can kind of around. And yeah, those are my tips.
I love that. Kathlyn?
I think in addition to those, maybe like dimmable lights, if you have the ability to have dim lights in your home to kind of like set that ambiance and, light music in the background will just, light enough where everyone can still speak over the music, but it just creates that vibe. Is a great way to add to all of those things Makini said.
Nice. Okay. Saudah, I gave you
you guys took all the great ones. But yeah, I think like Makini said, for me, for sure, it's always fresh flowers. And I'm a Trader Joe's fanatic when it comes to flowers. It's easy to find, easy to make a bouquet. I like ambiance, so dimmable lights, candles. And for me, I would add just, music in the background is always nice. Not, overpowering the voices, but just enough to kind of set the mood. And then comfortable seating. I recently had some people over, and acrylic lucite chairs are really nice to look at, right? But like if you're sitting in them for a long time, it's kind of like, can we move to the living room?
Yeah.
So kind of keep that in mind. If you're going to be at the table for a while, you might want to have some upholstered seating.
That's really good. And I'll add to that. I know you all said candles, but I live for a taper candle. Like sometimes we'll just order in, my husband and I during the pandemic, and I'll just dim the lights and light a taper candle. And I feel like it just elevates the whole situation. Yeah. Also, I try to stay away from a lot of heavy scented candles with meals, just because sometimes it can, depending on what you're eating, it can be a little bit overwhelming. I also think coursing out your meals just kind of adds to the whole experience. If you can have a little bread basket or some salad already at the table when you have folks over, just kind of elevates the whole experience, even if you're dining family style. So just a couple of thoughts about getting together. Yes, Trader Joe's, we've got we had lots of Black plant moms, new plant moms in the chat, and lots of moms who are co-signing on the Trader Joe's as well. So thank you ladies so much for joining us. Any closing thoughts from our beautiful panelists before we close out?
Yeah, one thing that I want to say just about the floral stuff. So there's a trend right now with preserved flowers. If you can find flowers like this, you can reuse it over and over again. And they're also just great for like your home decor in general. So you can use it for an event, and then you can also just have it on your coffee table. So I think preserved flowers is a good way to invest in some decor without, they're perishable. You don't want to just have to throw them out.
That's good. Other closing thoughts, ladies? Things that we just have to know before we leave this session?
I'd say if you want to do any type of DIY projects at home, but you think that you're not capable because you've never worked with tools or anything, since buying my home, I went and bought every tool possible, and things that I never thought I would be able to do, I've been able to make just by watching some YouTube videos and just kind of taking the plunge. So you can really elevate your home and make it a place that you love, whether it's an apartment or a home, by just kind of stepping past the pinning everything on Pinterest and actually doing it.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, ladies, again. Y'all give them their flowers in the chat, please. Let's thank these beautiful ladies. If you can also tell us where, right before we close, where we can find you after this, so we can keep the conversation going.
Sure. So my website is SaudahSaleem.com. You can also find me on Instagram at Saudah Saleem Interiors.
Perfect.
You can find me on Instagram at Makini Regal.
Perfect.
You can find me on Instagram and YouTube at Kathlyn Celeste.
Thank you. And I'm Love Maaden, LOVEMAADEN, all over the internet. Thank you all. We appreciate you. God bless you. And enjoy the rest of the Momference.
Thank you.
Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank
Bye.
you.